Hi everyone, I'm on my way to a movie theater to see a special screening of A Hard Day's Night. I'm a little surprised they're showing it now. It's still 2023. The 60th anniversary, of course, will be next year, 2024. But hey, I'm not going to take a chance of missing this. Who knows if they're going to show any screenings next year. But in the meantime, just as an aside, right now, this particular day, we're going through pretty horrible air quality here. We've got hazardous air because of the brush fires in Canada that are affecting New York and other places. And it's okay here in the car, but they advise you not to venture out if you don't have to. And looks like it's going to be back to wearing a mask, at least a little bit. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. Of all days for it to happen, it starts today. But okay, I'm looking forward to some fun tonight.
Hold up.
All right, here we go. I'm at the theater here. The original 1964 poster, and that's a pretty nice shape, I gotta say.
Yeah, it is.
You said you got this. Where? Where did you get?
It is from a friend of mine from upstate New York. He's a big first-generation Beatles fan, and he had since probably mid-late '60s. He picked up at a shop in Greenwich Village, and he's had his college dorm. He had his apartments and his houses over the years, but unfortunately, he dry mounted it in the early '70s. He was over at NYU. And
yeah, I'm not usually a fan of doing that, but I mean, it looks so clean.
It was
though.
actually very common, turns out.
Because usually they have a lot of folds in it. This must have.
You see the folds. You see it.
Oh yeah, you can see the
fold here.
You look close.
Oh yeah. Fold there.
Oh yeah, the folds.
You see one here.
Really nice.
Sometimes the dry mount does get rid of the center folds. So you don't really see it. I think you did a good job, closing, getting rid of that center fold.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah. Now, of course, you compare it to a pristine Hard Day's Night, you'll notice the white is a little yellowish.
I tell you, I couldn't even pick up on
If
it.
you go online, compare one to the other, take a picture of this, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, you're right."
But then it's vintage. I mean, I'd love to have that hanging in my place.
It's in my hallway right now, in my house.
All right, thanks very much.
My pleasure. How are you?
Hey, look who I found here.
See you.
You know this guy.
Mayo fans.
Yeah. Did you see that poster over there?
Yeah,
Great original poster there of A Hard Day's Night.
I told you on
Pretty amazing. Anyway, it should be great to see this again on the big screen. Did you ever see this at the movie theater?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of times,
Oh, yeah, quite a while ago though.
but it's been a while, so I'm really excited about it. What they need to do is bring Help back.
Oh yeah,
That's what I want.
definitely.
How about a double feature? A Hard Day's Night and Help together.
Just go 5. All out.
All 5 Planet of the Apes
Lunch
movies.
break, the real ones. You got Shea Stadium in there as well. So.
Yeah, right. I used to see all those. They used to have movies like that, Beatles Around the World or something. They had like midnight movies when I was growing up. You'd go sneak out. I snuck out of the house once at night to go with a friend to see the Beatles Around the World. They had like Tokyo, Japan clips, Shea Stadium.
Right. I didn't see before 8 Days a Week came out. They had a special showing of Shea Stadium in some screen, one screen in the city. They're not allowed to play it in the city, and it actually released on DVD because of the fight with the Bernstein Estates. So they actually played it during one week. So they couldn't make it.
Hey, also on hand is Steve Matteo. How you doing, Steve?
Hi, how you doing, Joe?
Right, and he's the author of the new book that's called Act Naturally, The Beatles on Film. And he's going to be signing copies here. And also, you can get them. Otherwise, how else can people get this if they want?
Amazon, I think Barnes & Noble stocking them. It's out there. It's around.
And it's about all the Beatles films.
Yep, the major 5 films.
Big 5. All right, everybody. Well, it's good seeing you here, Steve.
Good to see you, Joe.
Looking forward to the Q&A.
Thank you.
Yeah, 1964. It came out in July. And I mean, that was the whole idea, was to get it out as fast as possible, get the soundtrack album out, make our money, and then the Beatles will just fade away and just like another pop group. But that isn't what happened, obviously. So, I mean, I think part of the fact that they did it so quickly is that energy is there. And a lot of that was also Richard Lester in the way that he'd like to work. Very sort of improvisational and very quick.
Do you think they enjoyed making the film as much as it appeared that they did?
I mean, I think at this point, you know, Beatlemania had not sort of worn them out, and it was their first film, so it was exciting for these kids. They were kids to be in a movie, and you can see, yeah, I mean, it was fun. They had a good time, and they liked Richard Lester. They liked the script. They liked the actors that they worked with, particularly Victor Spinetti, who plays the director with the wonderful sweater. And you know, Victor would continue to work with them in their other films. I mean, they just loved Victor. So, you know, Lennon obviously is you know, he's just hysterical. I mean, he loves, that's who he is. So, I mean, I think they did have a good time. I don't think there's any question about it. What Richard Lester felt was that, you know, they all had their scene where it's just them. You know, each individual one, except Paul. But they did film a scene with Paul in a dance studio. But Richard felt that Paul was he was a little too smart for his own good, and he was dating Jane Asher, who was an actress, and he just felt that the scene just didn't work and it was cut. And he actually thought George was the best. But I mean, you know, Paul, I think he has some great, you know, moments in the movie. I mean, I think John sort of kind of steals it to some degree, although Ringo is, you know, will go on to be an actor. I mean, that's what he will do later on, and he will be more significant, obviously, in Help. I mean, he is sort of the star, so you'll excuse the joke, of Help, you know. Okay? This is the famous Joe Mayo, Mean Mr. Mayo, who has a YouTube Beatles channel. He knows everything about the Beatles. I know nothing compared to this man.
Stop.
Okay?
Well, I just want to say, you know, I always felt that Hard Day's Night is a pretty close to perfect film, you know. But what I always have a little quibble with personally is when they go back to If I Fell and I Should Have Known Better in the concert scene again. I think it slows it down a little. I'm thinking they did all of those songs, and I know Richard Lester, I think it was, didn't like I'll Cry Instead, I always heard, so he didn't use that. But you remember there's the unused footage of them in the concert scene doing You Can't Do That.
Right.
You know, and they didn't use it. Well, can you elaborate on any of that stuff? Or, they had a lot of songs to choose from. They could have done Things We Said Today, I'll Be Back.
I mean, it really is Richard Lester making the decisions, and actually him and George Martin sort of didn't really get along because of certain ways that, you know, George Martin was putting some of the music together. But I mean, I think some of it is just, you have so many songs. I think he felt, well, this is a movie, it's not a concert, so he was going to cut things. And I mean, if you buy these reissues like the Criterion collection of A Hard Day's Night, all of these things that were cut are on there, and you can watch them. So, you know, again, it's just, I think it's just, he's the director, and he makes the choices. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, some of the choices of what was left in versus what was cut. I mean, using things more than once. You know, I mean, like you said, though, it is kind of almost a perfect film, you know, in many ways. So, but it's, you know, all of that stuff, like I said, it's out there. You can see it, but it's not in the finished film that we saw tonight.
All right, just a very quick recap. I got to tell you, I really loved A Hard Day's Night tonight. I've seen this in the theater a few times over the years, and I got to say, but out of all the times I've ever seen it in the theater, this was the best. The audience was perfect. Everybody laughed in the right spots. You know, kind of applauded a little bit here and there if need be. You know, gentle applause at key moments. There's nothing like watching a movie with an appreciative audience that's into it, that enhances the movie. And even on the big screen, I could see little things that I never saw before. One of them was, I actually don't think I ever knew that in one scene inside the makeup room, I think it was, or one of the rooms, that there was a copy of John's In His Own Right book. I don't think I'd ever noticed that before. I could be wrong. You know, should have been obvious to me. But anyway, yeah. So it was a great time, and the Q&A at the end was really good by Steve Matteo. He says you could say it either way. It's fine with him. So I don't know which way to go with that. But yeah, that was really great. The only thing I'm wanting is to see the Beatles movie Help. given this kind of big screen treatment. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.